Me, Myself, and I. That's a rather odd title for a talk. But maybe it'll make sense shortly. Because today I'm going to talk about relationships. And kind of in particular, the most important relationship that every single one of us will ever have. And that's the relationship with ourselves. Do you realize you, from the moment you take your first breath until you take your last breath, you have to hang out with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For better, for worse, for richer or poorer, you're stuck. How much time and effort do we actually spend cultivating that relationship? I think we have some, maybe for the first time over a long period of time in history, we have a greater opportunity to do that. It seems, if we look at the numbers, that percentage-wise, there are more people living alone now than ever before in our U.S. history. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that, and maybe I'll get into a few of those in a moment. But if you're living alone, that means you have more alone time. And you have more time to cultivate this relationship with yourself, to find out who and what you are, what you want. Some of the reasons, perhaps, that we find ourselves alone more often than we used to. I think people are breaking away maybe from tradition. You know, we've come a long way, perhaps, from the model that was so profoundly portrayed by Archie and Edith Bunker. But that was a model, folks. I think part of that, too, is that we have opportunities to where we can go out and survive by ourselves, where that may not have been possible in previous generations. But I think there might be other reasons as well. We've kind of been conditioned to where it's all about me. How much money can I make? Does it make me happy? And I think perhaps that a lot of times we have lost our skill of connecting with others. We've lost our desire to have relationships because we're just worn out from taking care of all of our stuff and going and getting more stuff. But I think more importantly, by having all this stuff and being so busy, the greatest connection that we've lost is the connection with ourselves. What is important to you? I said a while back in one of my talks that if money was no object, time was no object, and ability was no object, what would you like to do with your life? What would you like to have? What would you like to be or do? How many can answer that question? Maybe 4 out of 40? Could it be that we all don't have that answer right there on a flag? It's because maybe we haven't taken the time to really find out, quite privately, who we are. What are we here for? What gives us delight? What gives us satisfaction and fulfillment? This quiet time we call meditation, you can call it and practice it however you want. But to maintain and to build and to enhance this relationship with yourself, I think all of us really need to spend some quiet time, some alone time. And when we do that, I think it's not very long till we run into this thing we call spirit. Because when we're searching for what we are, what we want, we start having ideas. We start imagining. And when we imagine, when we have ideas, when we think about possibilities, that's spirit. All of the unseen energy and possibilities are available to us. And if we don't bring ourselves into a place where we commune with the unseen, we miss it. We're too busy going to work. We're too busy living out the drama with the neighbor next door. To have a relationship with another person, I'll go ahead and tell you. I've had some very unsuccessful relationships in my life, and I've really worked for years to find out why. And I find that it was unrealistic expectations of my mates. And then when I dug a little deeper and thought a little more, actually, all those expectations that I had were based on expectations of me and my unrealistic expectations of me. I hadn't figured me out yet. And that's still a work in progress. And I still have a lot of problem with that. And that's my thing I work on. And I find great satisfaction and joy when I pull back another onion skin of realization and understanding. But when we are in a relationship with someone else, that requires, first and foremost, honesty. And second, acceptance. I heard a lady on television. She was talking about being married for 40 years. She said, it's got challenges being married that long. She said, it's like putting together one of those 5,000-piece jigsaw puzzles that the whole picture's just sky. And you know, there's some truth to that. You got to try a lot of stuff every day. Try something else. And as we make these trials and sometimes errors, sometimes successes, we try these things and we find new understanding of what we are, what other folks are, what we want, and what other people want. When we start to get a clearer picture of who and what we are, what we need, then we can be much more selective in finding and investing in relationships that embrace that, or work with that, or are similar to that. There's people that shouldn't be in a relationship, whether it's even a friendship or anything. But we have relationships in every facet of life. Our co-workers, in sports, going to the grocery store, marriage, children, parents. We have the ability, and probably even the responsibility, to co-create or create our own lives. What are you going to create? What do you want to create? I think this universe, I think Spirit is most cooperative, and it has everything every one of us needs for anything we ever want to say, think, or do. It's out there. We have to ask the question. We have to be very clear on what we want and put it out there. And I think the universe strives to fulfill those needs that we have, those requests that we have. And I think when it seems like maybe it doesn't, why? Probably because we're wishy-washy in what we ask for, and then we've got these expectations of what it'll look like, feel like, and taste and sound like when it shows up. And if it's not exactly what we expected, it didn't turn out. We didn't receive it. Prepare ourselves to receive from Spirit by whatever avenue, through other people, through the universe, from other people's sharing and gratitude. Our relationship with our very own self. I think that is the paramount task for all of us, to have a more enriched life. We make our own lives. We invest ourselves into every type of relationship that a person can think of. Are we investing the real deal? Or are we invested this concocted, created simile of what we truly are? If we don't invest the truth, how can we expect a return that is satisfying and pleasing and enriching? I encourage each of us to spend a little more time working on, cultivating, and spiffing up our relationship with our own self. You'll feel better. And believe me, the people that you have a relation with, your neighbors, your workers, your kids, your parents, your spouse, they will know it. They will feel the truth. And they will respond as the universe guides them. I think that's my question today. Will we all please spend a little more time with ourselves, with Spirit, that quiet place, and enhance the relationship with ourselves and with Spirit? And so it is. Let's stand and sing. Imagine. Imagine that unseen, that's Spirit.